Welcome to Sormeg's Writers Cafe, where we share the real writer's life over a cup of friendship sprinkled with laughter and wisdom. My name is LaShonda Hoffman, and I'm your host. Today's guests are Tesa Erven, Paulette Harper, Sheryl Lister, and Michelle Stimpson. They are here for our first book brag. What is a book brag? A podcast where we talk about books and how to promote them. We'll start with Tesa. Tesa, please brag about your book.
Hi, LaShonda and listeners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Tesa Erven, and I'm the author of a 3-book series called The Loose End. And I just want to give a little background about the first 2 just to set the scene to my latest book. So the first book introduces readers to Renee, who is single and in love with a married man. And after an unforgettable weekend together, he simply disappears. And on her search to find him, she meets Braxton, a single and handsome attorney, and he's also interested in Renee. And, of course, she feels an attraction, but how can she move on when her secret love has vanished without a trace? And then that brings us to book 2, which is titled Threads That Mend, and we revisit their lives to see if they can redeem themselves after suffering the consequences of their actions from their love affair, and also which brings us to my latest, which is Bonded for Life, and this is the 3rd installment in the series. And although the gang is back, you're introduced to new characters who gives us a glimpse into their lives. So tonight I will be reading a teaser from Bonded for Life on when Renee, the main character, runs into her lover and his wife at a dinner party. So here goes. I can't believe that just happened, Braxton said to himself as he pulled his car out from in front of his twin brother Jackson and Cynthia's house. He glanced over at Renee, who had a stunned expression on her face. With a concerned tone, he asked, "Are you okay?" He watched as the glistening tears in her oval-shaped eyes threatened to spill over. Renee's voice quivered as she replied, "I'm fine, although it's not every day I have a drink thrown in my face." Sabrina, Renee's best friend and former roommate, chimed in from the back seat. "I can't believe she did that. There was way too much tension in there." Renee lowered her head. "Yeah, there was, but Brenda has every right to be angry with me. I was knowingly having an affair with her husband. I'm glad she was able to release some of her anger. It could have been worse, you know. She could have pulled out a gun and shot me," Renee added, attempting to make light of the situation. "That's not funny, Renee." Braxton glared at her. "Okay, you cheated with her husband. I get it. But I thought we were past it. Apparently not. Let's face it, it was too soon. I had a feeling we shouldn't have gone there tonight." "Yep," Sabrina said. Derek joined the conversation. "I agree." Renee cleared her throat and laughed at them. "Really now? So when we were in the car contemplating on whether or not we should go into the house, no one bothered to say, 'Oh, there's a small possibility that you may get your butt kicked.' You guys are unbelievable. A drink thrown in your face, but your butt kicked? That wouldn't have happened, at least not with me standing there," Sabrina assured her. Braxton hadn't said much. Renee looked over at him and noticed tension on his handsome face. "Are you all right?" Braxton looked at her and softly uttered, "We'll talk about it later." Silence filled the car until Derek asked, "You two still coming to my game, right?" The 6'3", well-built rookie linebacker will be starting in his first game on Sunday. Sabrina nudged him in the side. "What?" Derek mouthed. "Yes, we'll be there," Braxton said as he pulled into Renee's apartment complex. Once they said their goodbyes, Sabrina and Derek headed to the car, and Braxton and Renee went into her place. "Now do you want to tell me what's wrong?" Renee asked when Braxton closed the door. "Baby, I'm so sorry about tonight. I feel terrible. I should have never pressured you into going. Me and Jackson kind of thought enough time had passed. I really wish there was a way we could all get along." Renee put her arms around his waist and leaned back to look up into his brown eyes and clean-shaven dark brown face. Braxton stood a couple of inches over 6 feet, easily towering over her 5.5 feet. I don't know what you want me to do, Braxton. This is tough. I didn't expect your family to accept me with open arms. I chose to be the other woman. It was a bad decision on my part, but if I have to live with the choices that I made, not you. I love you, but I don't want you to be miserable because you can't have it both ways. There's always going to be some kind of animosity towards me from your family. Baby, I realize this is hard, and I love you too, but there has to be a better way. He stopped mid-sentence. Renee pulled her arms around from underneath his. She spat, a better way to what? To us trying to get together again? It's not going to happen. I'm sorry to tell you that I'm not welcome there, and if that's a problem for you, then I guess you could Braxton cut her off. Don't you dare say it, Renee. I'm not going anywhere. You are the one I want, and we'll have to figure out something because I won't give up on us. Renee shook her head while Braxton pulled her back into his embrace. With her petite frame wrapped in his arms, she always felt safe with him. He wanted to reaffirm his love for her, to show her that they could get through it no matter what happened, but he knew only time would tell. Thank you.
Thank you. That was good. I like that story, too. We're going to move to Paulette.
Hello. Hello, I'm Paulette Harper, book marketing coach, workshop presenter, and owner of Right Now Literary Virtual Book Tours, and also the author of the 2017 Emmy Award winner, Best Inspirational Spiritual Romance, Secret Places Revealed. I'm thrilled to be reading an excerpt from that book tonight. The synopsis of the book: he wasn't looking for love. She was running from the pain. One encounter changed everything. Single and very content real estate developer Aaron Blackman is determined not to be involved in another relationship. He's experienced enough drama to last a lifetime. The only thing garnering his attention now is his growing business, and he plans to keep it that way. Then Simone Herron walks into his life, beautiful and confident. Fighting to keep his promise to himself to remain single, he soon discovers that when it comes to love, some promises must be broken. After losing her fiancé in an untimely death, Simone Herron relocates. She desperately needs to put the past behind her and start a new chapter in her life. While love is the furthest thing from her mind, she experiences an attraction to the handsome Aaron Blackman that frightens her. She's built a wall around her heart, but can she find the strength and the courage she needs to welcome love again? To do so, she must encounter her fears and allow God to put all the broken pieces back together. I want to set the scene. They are Aaron and his brother. They are real estate attorneys, and they are in Las Vegas at an attorneys conference. Aaron and his brother Sean, Simone and her friend Kendra are having lunch. They navigated the masses of people in the lobby and inside the restaurant, dodging several women whose eyes were fixed on the two brothers. Paradise Cafe was crowded, as expected, but they managed to be seated within 20 minutes. They requested outside seating so they could enjoy the weather and some of the serene sounds of the waterfalls. The waitress handed them their menus and told them the specials. A few seconds later, the waiter placed water on the table. After looking over the menu, Kendra blurted out, "Everything looks good." "I know, right?" Simone agreed. "I'm having something light. I might splurge at dinner." The men closed their menus. Aaron asked, "How's your room?" His eyes darted between Simone and Kendra. Simone replied, "It's so nice, and the view is gorgeous." Kendra nodded in agreement. "I'm looking forward to some downtime to hit the pool." Sean said, "That's good. I'm glad you liked your room." He looked at Kendra. "Yeah, we checked out the pool too. Hopefully we can do the same." The waitress returned and took their orders. The men ordered sandwiches while the women decided on salads. As they waited for the meals, they chatted about the conference, the weather, recent movies that they've seen, and their latest project. They laughed and joked about everything from the presidential candidates to Kevin Hart's latest movies. The conversations flowed easily. They were enjoying one another's company until a voice from the past crept into the present. "Aaron, you always did like Kevin Hart," the soft voice said. Aaron would have recognized that voice anywhere. Macy Lewis, his ex-girlfriend, and disgruntled ex-employee. "Don't look so surprised to see me here. You know this is my circle I roll with," Macy said. The muscles in Aaron's face tightened. Simone and Kendra looked at the woman causing his discomfort. Sean lifted his glass of water before speaking. "Hey, Macy." "Hello, Sean. You're looking as handsome as ever. How are you, Aaron?" she said in a monotone voice. "I'm doing quite well." "Aaron, where's your manners? Aren't you going to introduce me to your guest?" Her eyes went from Aaron to Simone and Kendra. He paused for a second before he decided to introduce them. "Macy, this is Simone and her friend Kendra." "Well, hello, ladies. I do believe I heard a little about Simone. Nice to meet you both." Simone's eyes widened in surprise as she returned the greeting. Kendra leaned her elbows on the table. "Hello, Macy." The server placed their lunch orders in front of them and told them the owner would come by shortly to check on them. "Well, I guess that's my cue to leave." Aaron wiped the sweat from his forehead with his handkerchief. "Good." "Bye," Sean said under his breath. "But before I leave," she looked at Simone. "Here's a word of caution for you. Don't even think you and Aaron are going to be a couple. After what happened between us, I bet he won't cross that line again." Simone jerked her head around and glared at her. Aaron frowned. "Excuse me? Bye, Macy. Don't you have somewhere else to go? If you don't, pretend you do and leave." His cold glass of water never looked so good. "Why is she trying to jump stupid here in Vegas?" He watched her as she pivoted and sashayed off. Aaron turned his eyes connected with Simone. "I'm sorry about that. I must apologize to you both and Kendra for her outburst." Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Miss Sheryl, you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you very much for the invitation this evening, LaShonda, and hello, readers. My name is Sheryl Lister. I am the author of 10 books, just celebrated the release of book 10 this month, and it happens to be book 3 in my current series, The Grays of Los Angeles, the one that I'll be sharing with you tonight, titled Giving My All to You. And it features the second oldest sibling in the Gray family, Brandon Gray, and all of his focus is on becoming the CEO of their family company. The only problem is that there's one woman who stands in the way of that, and she happens to be a mysterious woman that he rescued on the side of the road. And so I'm going to share a little excerpt, and this will be after she comes home from the hospital. He's still in his Good Samaritan role. "Do you need something?" "I was just going to get some water or juice." "Sit down. I'll get it." Her brow lifted, and she lowered herself back down. "Kind of bossy, aren't you?" "One of my more stellar traits, I'm afraid." Brandon retrieved a glass from the cabinet. "Which one, water or juice?" "I'll take the juice, please." Faith continued to eat and thanked him when he placed the glass in front of her. Silence rose between them, and he seemed content just to sit and watch her. Any other time, she would have felt uncomfortable with someone staring at her while she ate, but not today. Today she was too hungry to care. As soon as she finished, he rose from the table, cleaned up, and discarded the empty container. Faith had never been around a man like him and couldn't believe some woman hadn't snatched him up. At the hospital, he'd said he didn't have a commitment to anyone. There had to be something wrong with the women in this city, or maybe it was him. "So any big plans tonight?" "Just catching up on some work." Faith was instantly contrite. He had taken off half his work day for her. She got up and walked over to where he still stood in the utility kitchen. "I'm sorry. You took off your work for me, and now you have to spend your Friday evening working. By the way, what do you do?" He hesitated briefly. "I work for a home safety company. And believe me, whether I worked half a day or a full one, my evening would have been spent doing the same thing. Actually, you've helped me out by allowing me to hang out with you tonight. She leaned against the counter. His abrupt answer made her wonder if he was having problems at his job. Why are you helping me? Not that I don't appreciate it, but I mean, you've gone far above the Good Samaritan role. Brandon folded his arms across his wide chest and angled his head thoughtfully. You're a beautiful woman, no getting around that, but you have a great personality and a way about you that intrigues me. I like you, Faith. It's as simple as that. Wow, okay. You're very direct. His voice dipped an octave and his gaze trapped her. Always. The heat swirled around them. To cover her nervousness, she took a step back and cleared her throat. Well, I don't want to be responsible for you being up all night, so, yeah, I better go. Yet neither of them moved. After several charged moments, Brandon moved around her and walked toward the door. Faith followed. Good night, Brandon, and thank you again for everything. You're welcome. He turned the knob and paused. Before she could blink, he bent and covered her mouth with a kiss so sweet it made her eyes close and her heart flip. Good night, Faith, and he was gone. You have to find out how it turns out. You read the book. That's it.
Thank you. That was good. I'm still over here in shock with you saying you had 10 books. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
where have I been? I done missed some stuff. Oh, my gosh.
Yes, this is kind of a surprise to me.
No wonder you're tired. Poor little fingers is worse than the bone.
They are.
All right, Miss Michelle, you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you again for having us. I really just appreciate it. It's my pleasure to come and just share a little bit with your audience. I am a new grandma, as we talked about that. I know everybody who's followed me, if you know me, you know I'm a new grandma now. So yes. That's half the story of my life right there these days. But aside from all that, I do a lot of writing. I think I'm on book number like 40 something. It might be 50 by now. I don't even know. I don't even count anymore. A lot of the stuff I've written lately has been shorter, so but it's fun. I enjoy writing, and I just love working with people and working with characters. So the one I'm going to read from tonight is a book called Deacon Brown's Daughters. And Stanley Brown is the main character. He is in his 50s. He fathered 4 children by 4 different women when he was much younger, and he has no relationship with those kids. But about a year ago, he became a believer. I write Christian fiction, and his life has changed. And anyway, he is about to get some news about one of his children in this piece that I'm about to read. So are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let me get started. So Stanley now lives with his mother, who is ailing, and he just got a letter in the mail. So this is Stanley and his mother, Effie. Who that letter from? I don't know yet. One of your women? I don't have any women. That's a first. Stanley shook his head. I'm going to take a shower now, Mother. Well, bring the letter to me. I'll open it. No can do. It's addressed to me. If you open it, that's a felony. Felony in my foot. Long as you stand under my roof, I got rights. I should have opened it already anyway since it came to my care. Now come on and open it, else I'll sneak in there and open it while you take a shower. Stanley laughed. If you tell me you're going to sneak, that's not actually sneaking now, is it? Effie slapped his arm. You stop it. Go on, turn off that shower water and come back in here. I don't smell so good, Stanley teased. You smell like a hard-working man. That's the best smell ever. Now stop playing with me and get the letter before you make me have a heart attack from worrying. Drama. Stanley dutifully obeyed. He turned off the water, grabbed the letter, and joined his mother at the kitchen table again. The table wobbled a bit, which meant the folded-up paper he put under the short leg must have wiggled itself loose. Stanley reached down and tucked the paper back in place again. His mother wouldn't dream of letting his table go. This is the highlight of your day, huh? He sulked, tearing the back flap off the envelope while looking into his mother's bucked eyes. Might be a late Christmas present. It's only been a week or so. Could be, Stanley agreed, though he doubted it. This was probably some woman from his past who wanted to let him know how he'd ruined her life, her credit, her trust in men, or
in all of humanity. He had heard it all before. I thought you would have won. You deserve an Emmy Award for your acting skills. Truth be told, there was nothing a woman could say to him that he hadn't already beaten himself up about, especially in the past year as he had begun to realize his new identity. He almost wished he could round them all up on a football field, get a bullhorn, and announce to them, I am sorry. I wish I could change the past, but I can't. I apologize for whatever I might have done to hurt you. Y'all can all go home now. And then, of course, he would take off running. Oh, no, his mother gasped. Stanley's attention turned to the contents now. He pulled out a folded program. The front of it had a bright yellow sticky note, FYI. He removed the note and came face to face with the picture of a young man who was the spitting image of the face he'd just been adoring in the mirror. Stanley's heart felt like a stone rock in his chest. What is it? Effie asked. An obituary. Effie's hand covered her neck. Who? My son. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you.
Really? That's it?
Right. I'm like, what happened to the son? What's going on? How you going to find out if he died?
Check out Deacon Brown's daughter. Because his son is young.
Oh, these are good. I need to go to Amazon right now.
I know.
I gotta ask y'all a question. See, that's bad. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate that. Each one was different and intriguing. So I hope they intrigued our readers to go click the buy button and get them some new books today too.
Yes.
Let's see what I want to ask. Well, you all are I would call career writers, so you have a couple of books under in your repertoire. So let's ask the question I'll ask about for newbies. What advice would you offer someone whose book is about to release? What should they do?
This is Sheryl, and so I'll take the first little leg on this one. The first thing I would tell them to do is get a website.
Okay.
So before your book even comes out, to establish your presence on the web, social media, and everything, and start whether it's 3, 4, 5 months before that point. Probably 6 months is a good one, but 3 is a really good number to start getting yourself out there and start connecting with readers and just building that relationship with them.
Excellent advice.
Hi, this is Michelle. I'm sorry. This is Michelle, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I would add to the website a Facebook account from your Facebook page, not your personal Facebook, but a Facebook page where you can do ads and such, and then a way to collect email addresses. So a website, a Facebook account, and an email list. Those 3 need to be set up like how to build a better mousetrap. When somebody sees it on Facebook, they want the book, but it's not out yet. Well, you need to get their email address, but you got to have some way to save it and send out notices and all that kind of stuff. So those, if you don't have anything else, in my opinion, those 3 need to be up and all connected.
I'm just so proud over here that these butterflies are saying what I've taught them. I'm like, yes, somebody said the mailing list. Yay! And I'm always preaching it. I'm taping. I'm always preaching it.
This is Paulette. I also would like to add, too, they should think about developing relationships and getting the street team to help them jumpstart their marketing and the promoting, getting other people involved, especially if they're, on social media, having other people help them promote, because it's promoting is bigger than you. You have to have other legs and arms helping you do this.
That's good advice. I think that we do it by ourselves for so long. People don't realize that you can ask for help.
Yeah.
This is just to ask them, especially on social media, to share your picture, share your cover. That introduces you to a whole bunch of people.
Yes.
So that's good advice. Good.
And this is Tesa. And my advice for a newbie, which I learned the hard way, so I'm hoping that this will help someone else don't do what I did before, which my advice before you release your first book, 2 words, editor and proofreader, are definitely needed to help elevate your book to the next level. So definitely invest in those 2 items.
Yes, excellent advice. Especially if you're self-publishing yourself. You want to put out your best book ever, not some myth that they're going to talk about forever. Let's see. I get this question a lot. What are some advice you would offer to authors whose book isn't selling? They've done, they got the website, they got the mailing list, but crickets. They hear nothing, no dinging, no nothing. What advice would you offer to that person?
Well, Shonda, this is Michelle again, and I would say 3 years ago, even as an author with a pretty nice sized following, you could throw a book up and people would buy it for months and months and months. But somewhere between 2015 and 2016, Facebook changed their algorithm, Amazon changed its algorithm. So those 2 things changed tremendously and have and I've noticed a huge drop in my sales. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know, how come people don't even know I got a book out? People are emailing, I didn't know you had a book out, that kind of stuff. So what I've had to do, and this is a recent development even for myself, is to go back and look at this metadata that I was not even trying to know that stuff. Because it's I'm not an IT person. But your keywords, when you upload the book to Amazon and Barnes & Noble or where, mostly Amazon, but when you upload those books in the categories that you pick, those broad categories are not going to give you the exposure that you're looking for probably. How to look at the number 20 book on that list. And if it's over a certain number, you don't want to be in that category. Those little things that are kind of behind-the-scenes things where books that maybe even, quite frankly, aren't so great are sticking to that algorithm. There are certain things that those people are doing on purpose that the average person who's just throwing books up, even with a good following, even books that would sell like hotcakes 2 years ago, are not going to stick like they did back in 2014.
I'm glad you shared that because I know when I released my book, it was in the wrong categories, and that's how I learned the hard way about the categories. And I was asking people, and they were keeping it like it was the best kept, it was the secret you did not share. And nobody wanted to, talk to me. They wanted me to pay them to figure it out how to do it. And I was like, I don't have $500 to come tell, so you can come tell me how to do this. I'm like, I need to learn how to do it, And I had to go behind the scene and figure out what to do and do a lot of Googling and figuring out because it was, if you have your book in there, I have a lady, she did coloring books. But her books wasn't listed as coloring books. And so I said, they can't find your book if it's not listed as a coloring book. And she's like, listed as a coloring book? She didn't have her book listed at anything. It was just on Amazon. And so, once I told her that and she went in and changed things, then she saw her numbers changing. And she's like, I would have never thought about doing that, And I had another friend that she all her books didn't have any categories. She had 5 books that was up there. And I was like, why aren't your books listed in categories? She's like, I just load them. I don't need to put them in categories. I said, well, this is why you're not selling. Nobody knows. Yeah. She's like, well, Amazon will tell people that I have a book. I'm like, no, they don't. Who told you that?
No. You're not going to get any visibility if you're not in categories. And I just found out that you could get in up to 10 categories. You just have to email Amazon.
Yeah, that's what I found out. That's what I ended up having to do because they were putting me in all kind of crazy stuff because of the listing that you put in the original stuff. So Amazon just pokes you wherever they want to poke you. And so I had to
Right.
contact them, and they was like, well, what do you want to be in, Miss Hoffman? We'll put you in there. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they'll put you. Just have to know where you want to be. Another thing too is there's a new platform that came out recently called Pronoun.com, and I put a book up with them, and I listed all my other books. But what they've been doing is sending me suggestions. Michelle, Mama B could be in the top 100 if you move it to this category. Like, they're sending me suggestions of categories to move it to. And I didn't know they did that until I published I'm publishing a really short piece with them. So now that I've listed all my books with them, I don't even think you have to have a book listed. I mean, you don't actually have to publish with them. Just build your author page at pronoun.com, list all your books, and they'll start sending you email messages saying you could be on 5 bestseller lists right now if you change these categories. So you need to change your categories, change your keywords, relaunch your book, and keep it moving.
No.
What's
Now,
the
my
website, Michelle?
Pronoun.com.
Pronoun.com.
They're a new platform, kind of like Smashwords and Draft to Digital are like middlemen, but they actually don't take anything. All those other ones take 10%. And you can publish a book that's less than $2.99 and still get your 70%.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I do have one thing about categories is to make sure you're putting them in the right categories. We have been having people listing their books as romances. That has been a big hot spot for people. Romances and Christian fiction that are not that. And you know, and it's nice to be number one, but if you're not a Christian romance, why would you want to be number one in that field if that's not what you write? You know, and so I think that a lot of people are so excited about being number one that they just throw their books anywhere. And so, you know, to me, that's being a disservice to the reader and a disservice to you yourself, because eventually people want their money back if they're paying for something that they're not getting. You know, so you have to.
LaShonda, also that it's a disservice to us who are actual romance authors.
Yeah.
So our books are categorized correctly, but we're overrun with books that are not. So our books are still not being seen.
Right, and so you get swallowed up. You go in there. You know, I look at the categories to find the new releases, to find authors that I can introduce to my readership, and I go in there, and in the first 10 pages, I have not a clue what.
Exactly.
You know, and we have a new genre that's coming out. They insisting that they are romance, and I'm going, well, you're not classical romance. I guess that's the term for it. I don't know.
No, it's not romance at all.
That's a whole other conversation. I'm gonna have to do a whole podcast.
Yes.
For you all, what has been your biggest promotion challenge?
Consistency. Staying consistent when you have like multiple deadlines. That's the biggest one for me.
Time. And that kind of goes with consistency.
Mine definitely is time.
Time is, we just don't have enough of it. I mean, we try to put everything into it, and you know, and I don't think as a writer you ever have enough time, because it's just so much to do, so many hats to wear when you're a writer, that people don't talk about that. You know, especially when you become an indie author, they don't tell you that you got to do the business side, you got the promotion side, the writing side. You know, then you got to build relationships with your readers. It's a lot, and we only have 24 hours.
Right.
Of life.
Yeah. So what's your favorite social media platform and why?
Probably Facebook, because I think that's where I have the most engagement. Well, maybe Instagram now too, because I'm pretty new to Instagram. So I think, and I actually really like it. I was really hesitant for a while to get on there, but LaShonda's like, nope, you need to start trying. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this year. So this was my year of yes, for lack of a better term. And so I started that, and actually I'm liking the engagement on there as well. But Facebook, I think, still tends to be the place where pretty much all of my readers are. And
you have a lot of engagement with your readers too, don't you?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's up and down, depending.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have to agree with Sheryl. This is Tesa. I'm into Facebook, and that's where I became most comfortable with.
Yeah, this is Michelle. I'm a Facebook girl, too, and it's just because that's the only one I think I understand.
Yeah, this is Paulette. Facebook, but I know that I need to go outside of Facebook, too, to reach other readers. You know, like Instagram. That's where, the time, I don't have enough time to do it, where I need other people, and when I can hire other people to do that platform for me.
And it's okay to have other people to help you promote your stuff. That gives, like I tell my clients, that gives you time to be engaged versus you trying to spend your whole time scheduling promotions to go out, things to put on Instagram, where all your stuff is already on there. So when you do have free time, you can just pop in and see who's saying something on your page, So right. I definitely recommend, if you can, get the help. Let somebody else promote for you. And let somebody else create your graphics, and and you concentrate on just doing the engagement part.
Right.
It's funny. That's the part that I love and enjoy the most, is making the graphics.
You make
Canva that one night, and that was it. Canva's my best friend.
Yes, that's how I am. I love Canva. So, like I say, most of you all have a lot of books. So, how do you get readers to review your books?
Ooh, good question.
I just ask. One of the things that I did, it was hard for me to introduce. Secret Places Revealed is my first inspirational fiction. So I didn't really have readers because, my books were nonfiction, Christian nonfiction. So what I did was I went on Amazon and I looked at a lot of reviewers who were reading Christian fiction books. And so I tried to engage them and find them on Facebook. And I was successful as far as reaching out to them and introducing myself to them and asking them if they would be interested in reading Secret Places Revealed and posting a review. And for some of them, I gifted the book to them, and they did the review. And to my amazement, there were a few that I had reached out to that had read the book but hadn't posted a review. And so I asked them if they would go ahead and post a review, and they did. So I just started asking people, and that has really been it's been a tremendous help for me.
Okay.
This is Michelle. I've done something a little bit new that I was a little bit afraid of, but I read about it and I thought I'll give it a shot. I sent an email to my whole entire e-reading, my whole email list, and asked, hey, do you want to read my books for free? If you will agree to do a review, you can read my books for free. So about 200 people or so said, yeah, I'm in. So wow. I am sending all of them a copy of the book before it comes out, 2 weeks before it comes out, with a deadline to make the reviews. And I can see on my email list who in my program who's opening my emails and who's not. I can at least tell that. And so the ones who aren't even opening it, I'm just going to take them off the list. But I'm giving them the book. I'm giving them a deadline, and if I don't see a lot of reviews, I'll say, hey, by the way, if you missed it, that kind of thing. So I'm going to have kind of just a group of people who are ready to roll out and review, and that's my big next plan. That's what I'm going with next, is that I'll give you a free book, and these are already people who are already on my list, who have already signed up and are reading my books already. So it's a win-win, I think, for both of us.
That's great.
I think that's a great idea. As a matter of fact, before social media and all that stuff, that's how I got my books from the artists. Yeah. They would send advance copies to their loyal fans, And then we got to talk up the book, We didn't do too much reviewing. We didn't have Amazon back then, but we talked about it to different people and stuff like that. And that's how we, at that time we had the forums. So we'd get on the forums and talk about the books that way. But it's nothing like getting a book before everybody else gets it, And so I think that right there I used to get books and people would be mad at me. They'd be like, how you get the book? How are you talking about a book that don't come out for 3 more months? I'm like, I got it like that, So I think that, Michelle, that'll be great for if you get the 200 people to actually write a review. But the thing is, if that's something that's successful, then those people will, begin a new book every year, and be excited about it, And that's the thing about it. When if you are a real reader, you want to be in the know and getting those books before everybody else does, and talking about them and stuff. And so that's the exciting part. And you be like, you feel special that they ask you to read their book before anybody else. So I think
and that's one of those things that helps your book again stick on that Amazon algorithm is having reviews.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
even sometimes when you ask them, people say, yes, I'm going to do it, and you send the book, and then they don't.
Right, that's true. Yeah. One of the
I'll
things
at least be able to see who opened it and who didn't. That's my first line of defense. That's all I know.
Well, it also hurts them because, like you said, it's not like you mailed it to them. You know who opened the thing and who's going to get it, and you can send a message to them. You know what? If I don't get a review from you, then I know that the next book that comes out, that you won't be on their list. And bam, their little feelings will be hurt, but hey, that's part of the deal. You don't honor your part, and I'm not going to keep sending you books. That's just not how it works.
Exactly. Yeah.
So most people will, if you send a next message, they'll send you a message. They go, okay, I'm gonna put it up, because they want to get they incentive of getting the next book. So I think that's great.
Yeah, one of the things that I did too, similar to Michelle with Secret Places, was I had sent out an email, I think, to maybe 25 of people on my email list that I knew would read, and asked them if they would post a review on the day that my book released. And so I sent them a free copy of my book. They agreed to review it. And so the day that my book released, I had about 25 reviews already posted on my Amazon page, which was really good, because it can be really, really hard getting people to be committed to writing a review. But I was glad that they had they went ahead and followed up, and I was following up, looking at Amazon and making sure that they had posted a review. And if they didn't, I sent them an email and say, hey, can you post a review, or give me a status of it, and they would tell me, I'm almost done, I'm going to post it. But actually, on the day of that my book was released, I had about 25 reviews that were posted.
And that's helpful for a new release, because most times if people don't see anything underneath it, they don't know if they want to try it. If they're new to you, they're like, well, nobody's saying anything. Is this book any good? And so that's why the advanced reviews are really helpful.
Yeah.
Did you want to say anything, Tesa?
I'm over here taking notes because I'm so bad at that. I know, right?
I'm doing the same thing.
I don't ask for readers for reviews, and I know I should, especially if they enjoyed the book. So I'm just taking notes on how I should approach it going forward. Mm-hmm. Thank you, ladies.
My next question is about book clubs. What advice would you offer someone whose book has been selected for a book club? What should they do?
Jump up and down. How exciting.
You know what? Exactly. That's the first thing, huh? I think you should make yourself available if they've asked you to come, whether it's Skype or in person or whatever, to make yourself available to attend the meeting when they're discussing your book if they want you to be there. Mm-hmm. The other part of that, I think, is, for me, this is just a personal thing. I like to bring goodies because that's just me, and I think it's a way to that they will remember you.
Okay. I like that.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you all have done vending tables at events, and you have any advice on that. I'm going to be doing an event in July and end of June. So, what tips would you offer for doing a vending table?
This is Tesa, so I can definitely speak on this. Now you're starting to get up my alley. I do vending events all the time, so my personal advice would be engaging. Stand up, and be friendly. Speak and smile, even if they're not interested. Put your business card in their hand anyway, because you never know. I always get somebody that may walk by. Oh, okay, I'm going to come back. But if I'm still standing in the same place, 9 times out of 10, they do come back and they show interest. So, my best advice, would definitely be, because if you're just sitting there, like you just part of the group, they're not going to know, and they're not going to just come over to your table. They're just not. So you definitely, I can't stress it, stand up.
This is Michelle, and I recently just started doing a lot of face-to-face things again. I had stopped for a while and had really concentrated on the internet promotion. But here lately I've been getting back out again. I think for new authors especially, and if a person's budget is very limited, as most of ours are, to be very selective about the events that you go to. If you're and then to be thinking about what you're going to have at your table. So if I'm at a place where it's all book lovers, then, yeah, I'm good to go. I don't mind spending money for a spot there because it's for people who love to read, particularly if it's in your genre. That makes it even better. But if you're going someplace and you're not really sure what's going on and that kind of a thing, then I usually bring something else. Like I have a coloring book, I'll bring that. Because even if people aren't readers, they know somebody who is in a nursing home who loves to color, or somebody who's on bed rest. And if you find that, and sometimes, a lot of times, you'll go someplace and it's really just a lot of authors sitting around looking for readers, and there's not a lot of readers necessarily. Authors should be readers. But if you can write a book that you could sell to other authors, should you find yourself in a place like that, then definitely have that available too. So I think you want to be selective about the audience that they're pitching this event to, and bring things that will appeal to a wider audience if you are in a place where it's not just readers.
That's very good advice. My first vending place, I did not stand up. I did everything he said not to do. I followed the lead of the people I was sitting beside, and never do that because they didn't have a clue either. And our whole section did not sell a book. We all went home with our books. And so I learned that you have to stand up, you have to stand out, and that writers do not come around and buy books from you. And so I was like, okay. I'm thinking, in my head, I'm going to an event with 50 writers there, and I have a book for writers. No. None of them came from around their table. They did not get up. They did not circulate. They stayed behind their table. So I know a lot of us went home mad because nobody sold any books. Nobody sold any books. I'm going to tell you, one person sold books, and you know why she sold books? Because she was not standing behind her table. She stood the whole time. When people came in, she grabbed them immediately.
Exactly.
We were so packed in the room, it wasn't anywhere to stand. That's why we didn't stand. But I learned from her that even if you are packed, then you come and sit on top of the table. Let somebody know that you got a book that come in there. Don't expect them to come in and look at your book because they're not. And it was a really good lesson for me because I was like, you can't follow what everybody else is doing because they're not selling books either. So
I agree. I mean, and this is advice that I learned from somebody in the business that has 40-plus books out that I recently went to an event because I'm usually everywhere. And she noticed, the one thing that I was doing wrong was I was sitting down, and that's when she said, if you stand up, it's a different presentation. And after that moment, and this was when I was first starting out, and after that moment, I never sat down again. And it's a different presentation that you give. I mean, yes, of course, I agree with Michelle. It just depends on where you're at and what the event is. But for the most part, whether you're, because I'm everywhere and you know that. So I usually go to a lot of book events, whether I'm at the flea market, a book fair, a nightlife event, you name it. If I stand up and I put that business card in their face, or I'm just like, hi, I'm the author, it just, it draws them in. So you have to just be engaging no matter what event you're at, regardless of if it's not even your target audience. And the only reason why I can attest to that, because I'm out here at these nightclubs. You think the first thing they're thinking about is a book? They want a free, they want a drink. and they want to dance. They want to drink. They're here to mingle. They're here to meet people. So they're not here to try to read. But I'm so engaging by standing up. I'm not around. I'm on the other side of the table. I'm like, here, while you going to bring your drink, on your way back, come get this book. Let me tell you about it. And that's just how you draw them in, too. So you just got to be very transparent at whatever event you're at. I agree with that.
Well, we have come to a closing, ladies. It was good. Really good. I'm going to listen to this 3 or 4 times. I was taking notes trying to go fast.
I know. I was taking notes, too, with Tesa.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing today. Please tell us how we can reach you online.
Well, this is Paulette. You can go to my website, which is pauletteharper.com. And my book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles, and I'm on also all the social medias out there.
This is Sheryl Lister, and you can find me at my website at SherylLister.com, and Sheryl is with an S. Or on Facebook, I have author Sheryl Lister, or you can find me on Instagram at Sheryl Lister, and on Twitter at 1SLynne, Lynne.
Hi, this is Michelle Stimpson. I can be found at michellestimpson.com, MICHELLEST as in Tom, IMPSON.com. I'm also at the Michelle Stimpson page on Facebook, and Stimpson Tweets is my Twitter handle.
And this is Tesa Erven, and people can find out more about me and my work on my website at www.tesaerven.com. I'm on Facebook /Arthur Tesa Erven. I'm on Instagram. My handle is Arthur Tesa Erven, and I'm on Twitter as @Tesa Erven. So basically, if you know my name, that's where I'm at. and I'm also obviously you can find me on Amazon as well. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, for taking time out to listen to this podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, please leave a review. Reviews are very important. This is Sormag's Writers Cafe. I'm LaShonda Hoffman. See you on the net.